This is an Ask Me Anything. You've got myself on the webinar today. My name is Matt Forrester. I head up the SEO and PPC department, and you've also got Mr. Baker here. Do you want to tell everyone about yourself, mate?
Yeah, I'm here as a digital strategist, so yeah, I'm excited to get into it.
So that's just a little preview of all the questions we got here, keeping us on our toes. But yeah, I think it's safe for us to kick off with number one, which
Mhm.
is probably the most common one we get asked. And I know it's one that we kind of like answering because it is a little bit easier, but how has AI changed SEO and how do we actually rank in AI search results?
Yeah, and this is one of those things where, at the end of the day, the fundamentals stay the same. We're still doing the same sort of SEO techniques. It has changed slightly, and the importance of different parts has changed. But at the end of the day, and you're going to hear us say a lot of the same stuff through a lot of these slides as well. But content's a big importance there. The shift to zero click. So that's at the moment, if you're researching something, you see the AI overview, or you're researching something on an AI platform, you're not actually going into a website. So that's a bit of a shift as well, going to zero click. The bar for content, as I said, is higher than ever. Technical SEO is still foundational. Matt, did you want to touch on those two there?
Yeah, for sure. So as Ollie mentioned, the bar for content's a lot higher, but so is the actual foundations of the website too. So making sure it's built on a really good structure, that it's ongoingly so. So making sure that all those areas are nice and tidy, that SEO crawlers or maybe the AI engines can actually access everything is super, super critical. And then at the end there, just the shifts from keywords to phrases. So when you're using something like ChatGPT or Gemini, you don't talk to it the way you would have looked up in Google. So in Google, it was easy, just web designer Gold Coast. I think we've got an example on a slide coming up, but now we can be a lot more specific or like specific to that ChatGPT's memory of who the user actually is. And the next question there, how can small websites actually compete and still appear in AI answers?
Mm. Yeah, so focusing on low-hanging fruit, so those longer tail keywords. As a smaller website, you're not going to have as much authority compared to some of these bigger websites, whether it's a government website or an education website. So they're often going to outrank us for our core keywords or the obvious keywords. So the strategy there is to target the stuff with lower competition, and we call those long tail keywords. And to do this, do some research, find the gaps in the competitor's strategy, see what they're missing out on, and then target it that way. And then I also added a point in there around structure beats size. So that's a lot of these bigger websites, sometimes they will just blast out content, especially the government websites, and they get to rank because they have the authority, but the actual structure of the articles aren't great. So that's where we can come in and win. Headings, internal links, all that stuff, the basic stuff for us, sometimes is missed out on for the bigger websites.
For sure. It's almost like a blessing in disguise. It's a lot easier
Mhm.
to manage a small website and make it really accessible and to sort of get those AI overviews or the results in ChatGPT. And I think the other one there is spend time keeping the content fresh. So larger businesses,
Mm.
they've got so many things to focus on. They've got this plethora of or like a library of content that just can't be updated in time. They don't have the resources. That's where small businesses can really leverage what they do have and find those lower hanging fruits and really just tackle it that way. And then
Mhm.
I think there was one last point there at the bottom, just leveraging locality. So, a big business, say you're in Brisbane, they're targeting the big keywords, like, for example, a lawyer in Brisbane is probably just going for lawyer. Whereas, if you're based in Toowong, for example, target Toowong, be super specific because ChatGPT or AI is as specific as that now. We can get those wins. Next up, how do I show up above a local competitors offering similar services? So not just against big businesses, but if a local
Mm.
competitor is sort of targeting it too, how do we do that?
Yeah, and it's almost a similar strategy here as well. It's again not going after the obvious keywords. So everyone in the Gold Coast that does web design, they all target web design Gold Coast. And another way you can sort of find an avenue to target there is targeting a longer tail keyword again. So something like web design services for Gold Coast electricians and keeping it very targeted. It's not the obvious keyword to go for. And that's just a very rough example, but you can see how you just got to think about it different ways and create content because there is search volume for these things. So it's just making sure we have a landing page there for them to land on. And then, of course, citations as well. They've always been important, but I think the importance for those are actually growing. And also, that it's a bit of a free strategy most of the time. And when I'm referring to these citations, I'm referring to directories like local search, Yelp, Yellow Pages, and those sorts of things. And then any other ones that are around your area or industry as well.
For sure. And there's two other points there at the bottom, just using local proof and real stats. So if you've got case studies
Mhm.
for local businesses or other people that are in a similar situation to others, like those are just going to do numbers. ChatGPT actually references that when they provide
Mm.
those recommendations. They say, look, these guys have worked with people just like you in the past before, and they can prove it with 5-star reviews. It's just another way to sort of boost yourself up against those competitors. And then just at the bottom there, making sure your content's the best. So other than just being fresh, make sure it's human targeted and regularly optimized. So make sure it's, sort of conversational. ChatGPT actually talks to users now. It's not just listing the sort of 10 little links. So you can definitely get ahead of the pack there. And then I guess one of the other points, just on the top one there, is even if the user doesn't search web design services for electricians, ChatGPT
Mhm.
likely locally knows that they are electricians. So if they have a page specifically
Mm.
targeting that, you're actually going to appear ahead of the pack, which is really, really cool to see. So how is AI changing SEO overall, and which technical SEO factors matter most now?
Mm. Yeah, so I mean, as always, crawlability and indexation, that's always been an important thing. We need to make sure that Google can find the website, and the same goes for AI platforms. They need to be able to crawl the website and find the website. So going back to basics there, making sure internal links are set up correctly, making sure sitemap is up to date, and then just clear site structure as well. Um, and then schema, that's another one that we've been using lots of, and again, pretty easy to implement most of the time, and what I see a lot of businesses miss out on as well. Through competitor research, I see lots of competitors not utilizing schema properly. So yeah, that's an important one.
For sure. And then I guess the other two there being clear information architecture, that leads into the site structure. So when you're sort of building out these service pages, I think gone are the days where you could just have your home page and then the service. You need to make it really clear to whatever's sort of crawling the website, every page that reflects beforehand. So just like ChatGPT has a memory of all your other past conversations, your website needs something similar. So for example, homepage, tax services, say you're an accountant, home, tax, and then a second opinion on your tax return. So that's a three-path
Mhm.
page leading to that one. And as long as you have a clean URL structure, really easy internal links for to sort of access those pages, it makes it really obvious what you're sort of referring to and helps you sort of rank above those competitors. And then the last one there, just page performance and core web vitals. So if you're a website owner, I'm sure you've sort of put your URL into PageSpeed Insights and got a big scary score. It's not the end of the world if it's not so good. It is going to help you get ahead if it is great, but it compares against, what are your competitors doing? Is your PageSpeed Insights keeping up with them? Is it not? It's probably time to address it. If you're ahead of the pack and you're appearing in search results, you're pretty much good to go. Next up, we have how often is new content required to attract AI search bots?
Yeah, and we've mentioned this earlier around freshness. So content freshness, making sure content is being consistently uploaded to a website. It does favor that. We know that. But it's also going to favor content accuracy, the depth of content, and just overall authority as well. Did you want to touch on the freshness signals there, Matt?
Yeah, for sure. So I guess like how do you gauge what freshness is, right? Like is it just that you've popped in and updated it? How does a Google crawler or AI crawler actually know that? And these are the sort of things that it looks at. And that is the last modified. So that's actually hidden in the page in the header. It sort of shows Google or whatever else what the last time, like so what the date was when it was last edited. It also has options to access the sitemap update timestamps, the
Mm.
entity updates in the structured data, new internal links. So this one's really good. So, and it's an example of recycling old, previously high performing content, which is what we sort of
Mm.
touched on the bottom there. But, if you've invested in SEO for a while, it's not a matter of sort of refreshing just new content. You can lean on all of that previously really high performing content to sort of add new internal links to the new content. And similarly, like if you produce a new blog article that relates to an old one, you can link through to that one as well.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
then the last one there is just updated facts or stats. So, we're heading into 2026 now. I'm sure you've got a best of 2025 guide feel free to lean on that one again. You don't need to write a whole new article. You can always go in and update some dates, make sure the facts and the stats are up to date and that the clarity or structure is correct too.
Yeah. And then just on that last point as well, I think this is such an important point just because it's often missed by lots of websites. And it's just such a big opportunity being able to go back to old content, update the content and optimize it, and have that republished. Um, that's something we do for all of our clients as part of our packages. And I just think that's yeah, just a big opportunity.
Massively, yeah. And yeah, service pages, blog articles,
Hmm.
everything
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. Keeping everything up to date.
On to the next question. With so many AI tools available, which ones actually matter, mate?
Well, I think we're all aware of ChatGPT. I think everyone uses that now. And then you've got Perplexity as well, which is similar. Google's AI Overview, which runs on Gemini, I believe, and then Microsoft Copilot as well. So these are all versions of LLMs that we're all using. Um, yeah, there's a lot of other tools out there. You've got your SEO tools like Phrase and all these other tools, but I think the bulk of it, um, and the ones that I'm sure everyone on this call they use, are probably these ones listed here.
Yeah, for sure. I think like the key takeaway is, whatever discovery channel that your users are using. So if someone's, say you are an accountant, if you are finding that all of your clients are using ChatGPT, that's the AI tool that matters to you, right? So it's wherever people are going, that's the one you need to focus on. And I think at the moment it's sort of each one's leapfrogging another. We were just sort of talking about it downstairs in the kitchen early, Ollie, but
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
this week, Sam Altman like declared a code red for ChatGPT because Gemini had just leapfrogged it so heavily, and they're working so hard to get back on top to be the desirable LLM. So it keeps us on our toes, doesn't it, mate?
Yeah, yeah, but they're all pretty similar, in the end. So I think as long as you know how to use them, that's probably what matters.
For sure. Yeah. And I guess if you don't know where your users are, like if they're not sort of letting you know in the sales calls or anything like that, at the end of the day, you can always monitor your referral traffic and Google Analytics and tools like that. So your website will actually tell you where people are coming from, and it's really easy to find that. And if you need a hand sort of accessing, I'm sure we could help out too. Up next, what should businesses do now that more and more people are using AI instead of Google, mate?
Yeah, so this one was an interesting one. It's not entirely true. So Google still is, the king of the industry. So 85% approximately of all searches are still on Google. And as much as AI and ChatGPT is getting more and more popular, it's still not remotely close, but it is increasing. The popularity is increasing a lot. There's more and more searches, yeah, all the time on these AI platforms. But at the end of the day, yeah, Google still is, the one you want to keep front of mind. And then
Mhm.
it's just tweaking your strategy slightly, tailored towards AI platforms, and that's what we've pretty much been talking about throughout this webinar.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't remember if we were talking about this beforehand or not, but essentially like ChatGPT is or any LLM is a research tool, right? So
Hmm.
as an example, I was Christmas shopping earlier this week, trying to get that out of the way. Not necessarily early, I think, but probably in line with when other people are. But, I was trying to get ideas on ChatGPT and Gemini. Like I was asking it, who do I get for this person? These are their hobbies, for example. I get the ideas and then I go ahead and I Google where to find the product or the service that I'm after. So yeah, I think, keep Google front of mind. These other strategies that we're sort of chatting about, they're not necessarily shift to, it's actually
Hmm.
just add it to your plate as well. And I think the
Yeah.
fundamentals are very similar. It's just all these extra opportunities that are now available. So for specific industries, how is it affecting it? I'll probably cover this one because it's
Hmm.
sort of similar to the question before, but you need to sort of think about who your user is because Gemini or ChatGPT, they know your user just as well as you do, probably actually a lot better. They know all their dark secrets too, but how does their research tool act? Is it a travel planner? If you're in the travel industry, you need to target that. So what sort of information would a travel planner tell a user, and then how would they choose you? Or if you're in the trades, for example, maybe you're a plumber, your user's probably asking, what's that awful sound in the pipes? Like, is my house gonna blow down?
Explode.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
it's just about finding those sort of mindsets that the user is in. And then
Mhm.
from there, I guess it leads into the urgency. So is your user typically in an urgent mindset or are they just sort of researching? So for that travel one mentioned, they're probably just looking for ideas for Chrissy, you know, where should I take the family? Anything like that. But if they're worried their house is going to explode, they probably need a quick fix, right? So that's where you're going to sort of lean into that. And then at
Yeah.
the bottom there, just sort of standing out. So if you need to sort of appear at the top, we need to provide reasons for that travel planner to choose our destination or that when it's sort of saying, this is what's wrong with your pipes, here's a plumber that's going to help with that specific problem. So I'd say that's the three sort of pillars there is like search intent, urgency, and then how you sort of target that and stand out from the rest. And how do you protect privacy when using AI tools?
Yeah. So knowing where your data's stored is super important. Is it stored locally? Is it stored in the cloud? Masking any sensitive information. And this is a very easy one to do. Just don't use clients' names and clients' information. And if it's internally, don't be using employees' information and stuff like that. And then consider VPNs as well. And this is going to be very different, this question, I think, for a lot of different businesses. It depends on what you're working in, what you're working with, and sort of what level of privacy you need to go to. But here are just some quick tips, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think a good general rule of thumb that we sort of mention here internally and then outside as well to clients is don't ask anything to ChatGPT that you wouldn't ask a general member of the public. Because we don't, yeah, it's better to err on the side of
Everyone's freaking out right now when they heard that, Matt. Like, oh no,
caution.
knows all my dark secrets.
Yeah, it is scary. Delete those chats, mate. And then this one here is SEO still worth investing in for small business owners? What do you think of this one?
Yeah, and I've mentioned this a few times so far, but not heaps has changed. We're just sort of changing strategy slightly, but in terms of the fundamentals, they're still the same. And majority of the research can be done via the AI side of things, but at the end of the day, the click through to the website and the conversion often happens organically. A lot of people just have that uh, research. They use ChatGPT and AI for those, or they're using it for the quick answers. So they're searching something, they get the AI overview, and they leave. But those probably weren't going to be paying customers anyway, if they're not looking for that service and that product as well. So we are targeting that. We are writing people first content, the how tos, the what is. But in terms of is it still worth it? Yeah, definitely. Like we saw before, I think it was like nearly 90% of people are still searching on Google, and majority of those coming through to organic.
Yeah, for sure. And I think if you were to search the exact same phrase into Google and then punch it into ChatGPT or Gemini, you're going to end up seeing very similar names mentioned. So, and
Yeah,
that's what leads into it being, a long-term game, right? And SEO, it's something that we always sort of try and educate clients on if they're sort of kicking off SEO for the first time, improvement compounds. So month one, you're not going to see a lot of flashy vanity stats. Traffic's not going to skyrocket, but month two, it's 2 months of effort. So you've got twice the amount of SEO on there, so on and so forth. 2 or 3 years' time, you're absolutely killing it. Number one on everything. Leads, you don't even know what to do with.
yeah,
And then, yeah, I guess at the end of it, like you mentioned, the difference between the two traffics again. So organic traffic is the most high intent. So while traffic and everything is like it's an awesome vanity stat, good way to sort of gauge the success of the campaign. The most important thing ultimately is how often the phone rings.
yeah. Yeah, agreed. And the local SEO, I'm not sure if we touched on that, but that's also super crucial. And that's another thing that's in, yeah, every package we have here at 5 by 5. Making sure your local SEO is up to date, making sure your Google business profile is optimized, reviews are coming through, and then your NAP, which is your name, address, phone number, is consistent as well, because AI platforms are using this when they're bringing up names.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, very important. Okay,
Cool,
that
that's
sort of
it.
leads us on to our next point. Did you want to chat through this one?
Yeah, so we've have a free SEO audit here as well. So if you guys are keen on that, bring your phones out, scan the QR code. It should bring up a form. And on that, you can leave your details and then we can get in touch for a free SEO audit.